Hello, people. Apologies for being slightly late. Cups of tea have been made,
Um,
etc.
yeah, we're here now.
We are here now. Now, I imagine a lot of people are watching Thursday Night Football, which was a game, and then Kirk Cousins became
He kirked.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah. How did he? How did the Eagles get the ball back so fast after the strip sack?
It tumbled right into Fletcher Cox's arms. Like it just bounced right to him, and he ran with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Well, this game's over.
yeah,
Well, good news though, because we may get more live viewers.
that's right. Bring it on in, everyone.
Yeah, welcome in, welcome in. The first autopsy of the Seattle Seahawks 2023 season.
Yeah,
Do we have any preamble, or should we just get straight to it, Griff?
I think we should get straight to it. There's an echo, by the way. Is that me or you?
Let me just keep talking. Can you still hear an echo?
Test one, test two, check, 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 check one, two,
Is there an
check
echo
three, check
now?
four. I don't hear anything. We're good.
Okay, I think I just had you a bit loud.
Mm. Mm.
As can happen. Chat, let us know if there is an echo.
Yeah.
Oh. Boo, we want preamble. Jen, okay, now's your chance, Jen. Jen, ask a question which is preamble related. Good evening, 509 Adventures. Good to see you.
Good evening.
What's up, Kelly? Lee, I'm sure that was a great emoji, but unfortunately we can't see it. Jordan, thank you for saying no echo, and also thanks, Kelly, as well. Yeah. There we go. Right. Well, Jen, you've got your opportunity. No Griff jokes after a full off season from Vince.
Oh man, I forgot about those. Remember my pivot in the
Vince, that's a
comedy?
good callback.
Remember my
I think the
pivot in the
problem here is
comedy?
Griff is such a funny guy that eventually you kind of run out of content. And also it was distracting me. I was always so entertained by these jokes, and
Yeah, you
obviously, as you all know, I found them so hilarious that
you in particular, yeah.
I couldn't lock in on the football. And as you know, we're very serious all the time as a podcast, so we had to scrap them.
Right, right. Well, hey, next time maybe we
Oh,
can.
Riley with a historical related. I like how the history was worked in at the end. Nice job, Riley. Why is the loss of the starting tackles the worst thing since the fall of the Roman Empire?
Ferris, give me back my tackles. You know
Well,
that
I don't
quote?
think. Is Jason Peters the Dark Ages? I don't think so.
Jason Peters is like the Western Roman Empire on its last legs.
Right,
Or
right.
or
It was
or
once
no no
great.
no no. He's more like Charlemagne trying to reclaim like the Western Roman Empire clout.
Hmm.
He's like, we're Rome now, even though they were failed.
I mean, if I talk about Jake Curhan, I'll probably be rude, if in a kind of historical, ancient history sense.
How so?
But he is a caveman, basically.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, yeah.
And that's fine. That's what they need.
Is he the missing link?
Oh, there you go. Video. That's is Jake Curhan the missing link? Jake Curhan has started 5 games in which Seattle has rushed for 500 total yards.
I thought it was gonna be like, is Jake Curran's DNA the secret to unlocking the blind spots in America, the human evolutionary chain or something?
Yep.
I bet
Good.
that's where you're
Nice
going
and
with that.
snappy. Love
Yeah, I
that.
could have worded that better. Who is Jason Peters in Game of Thrones? The Mountain. Yeah. I don't know if he's the Mountain. He's up there though.
I still haven't watched Game of Thrones. Does that make me a bad person?
Didn't you start like the first season and then give up?
Yeah, and then one time I was at a friend's house and was very hungover, and then like I watched it, but I was so hungover that I don't remember what actually happened.
Interesting. You were a
Yeah,
Danny
and I
stan, though. I
wasn't really
remember
paying
that.
attention because I kind of felt ill.
Mm.
Not that I, not that I, well, I guess I've just said that I do get hungover, so damn it.
Narc Diaries, we are both Aries, if that's what you're asking.
Do you want
But
our social security number / in England national insurance number as well? You want our
but
address?
but I'm the better Aries.
My Narc Diaries. I mean, your name Narc Diaries is I don't know, Narc. It's kind of giving me the vibe I don't want to give you any information. No offense, but my birthday is on Twitter, so you can just look on my Twitter profile. Oh, your dad Joe. Look, thank you very much. Well, that's nice. Hello, Joe. Um. Come on, Griff. You're into your theological
What?
kind of stuff. Was Karl Marx right about the pistol run game?
Did you say theological?
Yeah, but
Don't you mean? I mean,
sociological?
is theological would be like religion, right?
Well, there you go. Is Marxism a religion?
I mean, I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't categorize him under theology.
Okay, are you going to answer the question, or should we just start the podcast?
No, I'll answer the question. What's the question?
You up on the screen.
Was Marx right about pistol runs? Sees the means of obfuscating tendency, which pistol can achieve. I don't know. I don't have enough creative energy right now to go anywhere with that.
Maybe one for another mailbag. Jen, happy birthday on Saturday. I didn't know Pete Carroll's birthday was this Friday, but Jen, happy birthday when it comes. Okay, chat.
Happy birthday, Jen, on Saturday.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right.
Good stuff. Let me just drink this tea, Griff. Wonderful. Right. Let's get into it. Oh, big bomb from the
Another one? Oh no, we already saw that. You're so behind me.
It has to go over the Atlantic via Amazon Prime.
Has to transmit all the way across.
Yes. Okay.
Right, eh? Yeah, right. Too right then.
How about Sean Desai's defense, huh? I love how they were in too high coverage here. It really helped them defend the play action pass.
Well, I mean, the Eagles are winning right now, aren't they?
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's how they get out of it.
But it didn't start off well.
Yeah. Oh, Gray. Yes. Oh, Gray is very good. It's actually Marks and Spencer's tea right now. Posh.
All right.
Okay, let's do our actual podcast. But okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to the Seattle Overload Film Review Podcast, our first one of the season. We are going to be diving into how the Seahawks lost by 17 points to the Los Angeles Rams, chiefly asking the two main questions. How did the defense collapse on third down, which is their main issue? And then how did the offense do nothing in the second half after looking promising? But before that, Griff, I'm joined by Griffin, C-Mike Spin Move on Twitter, as usual. Before that, Griff, we have to look into the Seahawks tackle situation. Right tackle Abraham Lucas, after leaving the game with a sore knee, which he'd been managing throughout the whole of the offseason, he has been placed on injured reserve, which means he has to miss 4 games, not 4 weeks. So he's out. And then on the other side, Charles Cross is out of practice right now. He's not practicing. Via a source that I have, my understanding is that's a 1 to 2 game thing with his sprained big toe. So I expect him to miss this game against Detroit. We'll see if he can make the following game against the Carolina Panthers. Or is it the Giants?
Um, I don't
Come
know.
on, Griff. It was going so well.
Yeah, I know. And then I came and ruined it. I don't know actually.
You're just taking it one game at a time, like Pete
One game at
Carroll.
yeah, yeah. I only can think about the Detroit Lions right now. It's
I
one
believe
and
it's the
zero.
Carolina
You
Panthers.
can't go 2-0 this week. You can only go 1-0.
Hmm. Uh, so Griff, both tackles out.
Yeah.
How first before we deal with like the moves Seattle's made, the corresponding moves they've made to uh try and be okay. How do we just feel about Cross and Lucas? Because we had such high hopes coming in.
Yeah.
They're both in the second seasons. We expected big gains, and then we saw how the offense collapsed in the second half. During which, those two guys weren't on the field, and obviously Geno Smith was sacked 3 times. The guys who came in did okay, didn't they? They just gave up some sacks at the end, pressures at the end when it was clear pass. But before that, it was okay. But yeah, how big a
Yeah.
miss is this?
Yeah, it's not great because we expected Charles and Abraham to play better in their following games. So we're kind of viewing how the replacements will do relative to how we project Charles and Lucas or Cross and Lucas to do moving forward. It's not great. We saw how the second half protection hurt them, their ability to go downfield because they were trying. They weren't not trying to get downfield to try to get chunk gains. So I will be curious to see how this limits them schematically in terms of what they're trying to do intentionally, and then like the results thereafter as well. Obviously, we can expect it to be a huge hindrance. And then the other thing, the communication standpoint of it. I mean, that's two guys to down of an offensive line. That's 40% of your offensive line. So continuity is really important. So at least with Peters, if he can go this week, which I doubt he will be able to, but if he can go this week, at least he's incredibly experienced. Like he's seen as much football as you can see, probably can pick up on a playbook and terminology really easily. I guess it's I mean, I don't know. Jake Curran has started games before. He knows the language. He's been serviceable. So it may not be a disaster, but it's just kind of a touch and go thing.
Yeah. So as you've mentioned, Jason Peters signed. He filled in at right tackle for the Dallas Cowboys from, I believe it was week 14 onwards in 2022. He is 41 years old. He is probably a future Hall of Famer, but he is way past those standards now. Griff, you actually were sicker and watched some of his tape last year, so I'd like to pick your brains on that. But I believe he is a left tackle depth. Now, Seattle did also re-sign Greg Ireland. They had released him. He can do a bit of left tackle, but he's more like a left guard for them. Which really the reason they've done that is because Jake Curhan was a backup guard, and now they need him at right tackle. So they just needed more interior offensive linemen. But yeah, Peters is that left tackle if Cross can't go, which I don't expect him to go against Detroit. And yeah, he's been signed to the practice squad, but he'll be able to do, again, why that's significant. Practice squad, you're allowed two call-ups, and then you either need to be signed permanently to the roster or something happens, right?
Mm.
And I think that's correct. Griff, how does practice squad work? Help me.
Well, you can pretty much sign anyone to the practice squad now.
But is there a limit to two call-ups?
Like per week?
Yeah. No,
I
like you activate it twice and then you have to be signed to the active roster or not.
Oh, yeah, I think it's 2. I do think it's 2. I might be wrong.
So while I looked that up, Griff, what did you think of Peters' tape?
He can still play. He was still good for Dallas, and he did a couple of different things for them too. He didn't just play left tackle. He's a technician, and his play strength is there. The only thing is that pure speed can cause him issues, just because he's 41 years old. 41 at 300 pounds, but he gave Dallas functional tackle play, like probably as good as Charles Cross was last year. So I mean, if he's good to go, they might be fine. And I suspect Peters probably could have signed with the team earlier on in the offseason, and he was just biding his time, waiting for like the ideal scenario. And this is probably ideal for him. This is probably what he was wanting, waiting to see who was desperate and or who got injured. Not that he's rooting for injuries, but so they might be okay with him in there.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, thank you, Jen, in the chat, but also on the NFL website, it says they can promote this player from a practice squad no more than 3 times in a year.
Oh, okay.
So as I've heard, Crossy's a 1 to 2 game thing, but if it takes slightly longer for him, then Peters is there. But that's super encouraging that his tape's okay. And then when it comes to Jake Curhan, who of course was an undrafted free agent for the Seahawks in 2021, wasn't it? Wow, that's crazy. It was that long ago. Pete Carroll had an affinity for him because of his California background and the high school he went to, if I recall correctly. But he was pretty solid down the stretch of certain games. Like all the games he's played in, Seattle's got over 100 rushing yards, I think, in every single one. I think it's 5 games that he started. I remember against the Chicago Bears, Sean Desai defense, he was a real good mauler on the backside of the zone and stuff. But as a pass protector, he's a definite downgrade to Abraham Lucas.
Yeah, I'd say for sure that's the case. He just doesn't have the foot speed to protect on deep arc rushes, and that's kind of a concern if they want to go deep. I mean, you got to throw. It's got to be a deeper drop. So, I don't know. I mean, their play action scheme shouldn't be affected by this too much. We'll see what I mean. Yeah, we'll see how this limits their drop back game. Hopefully, not too much though. If so, I remember in toward the end of 2021. Russ in the pocket was better the final month of the season than he was in the few weeks that he got back from, and even better than he was before his injury in that season, his last season with the Seahawks. And he kind of figured out Curhan, and Curhan kind of figured out Russ, that Curhan would lose in that 8-yard window. So Russ would, to his credit, would make a point to step up consistently. So Curran would lose consistently, but he would lose to the same spot consistently against really good speed rushers. So hopefully he and Geno can kind of develop the same sort of relationship, and Geno is firmer in the pocket on average than Russell Wilson is, just stylistically. So there could potentially be a positive feedback loop there with them. But yeah, against like just the speediest of guys, like I don't know, he's probably better to go of edge rushers that are considered good. I would rather Jake Curhan go up against Aiden Hutchinson than James Houston for Detroit. I would worry about the Houston matchups more than the Hutchinson matchups with him. So,
yep.
But we'll see.
So, Seattle also tried to shore up their tackle depth by signing 2 players off rival NFL teams' practice squads. The first is Raekwon O'Neal. He played left tackle at UCLA after transferring from Rutgers, and he's huge. He has almost 34-inch long arms. He's 6'3" and 4/8 of an inch. And he tested pretty well just across the board. So the fact that he was an undrafted free agent this past year kind of reflects how raw his tape must be. But I know he was impressing with in the preseason. He was with the Falcons, right? No. This is so badly prepared. Damn it. Do you recall, Griff?
No, I remember reading it. Look at us.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a red team.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember that.
And Buccaneers fans were really upset. I saw a lot of the Twitter reaction to that where they were just like, shoot, we lost this guy. And then the other dude that Seattle signed is McClendon Curtis, who is kind of perceived as a guard by some people. He was with the Raiders. I believe Seattle will be looking at him more as a right tackle, an emergency right tackle, but we'll have to see. I mean, he's 6'5" with 35-inch long arms and weighs 324 pounds, so he is huge as well. Another undrafted free agent. He went to University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Oh, no. University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. So, probably raw, but has that profile that Andy Dickerson loves, these big offensive tackles who are tall and long and big. And if anything, at least they're big, so they're a longer man to run around for an edge rusher. But against Detroit, the Aiden Hutchinson hype is massive. Bryce Rossler of Sports Info Solutions on Tuesday, he told me about the rest of Detroit's pass rush being interesting. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. Mm-hmm. It's not ideal, is it? But they'll just have to scheme intelligently and not be morons.
In the past when they've schemed scared in a way because they're worried about a talent imbalance or a mismatch somewhere with the opponent, it doesn't really work for them. They don't get the cheesy kind of cheeky yardage that they think they will. When they scheme big, I think they end up having more success. So I hope they're just willing to take the lumps that come with the talent discrepancy, because they're still going to be leaving meat on the bone. I mean, they still need to scheme like they have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Geno Smith. Like, you don't need to turtle up completely. It might mean less pistol, more under center. It might mean more really selling the hard run action and living in that world and getting more under center defense. So I'm not sure they were exactly getting the looks they wanted out of pistol against the Rams. So, we'll see.
Yeah, and remember also Seattle has Ben Brown, who they signed about 10 days ago now.
Right.
From the Bengals when they placed Derek Young on IR. He's more of a guard, I think. But the other thing to note is that running back Kenny McIntosh was the corresponding move. So he's been placed on injured reserve along with Lucas. So his season, realistically, unless the things remarkably improve quickly, or Seattle gets hit with a injury to the running back room, McIntosh's season is basically injury redshirted, I'd say.
Yeah, it's not looking great at the moment, which is really frustrating for him.
Yeah, because he was ahead of Zach Charbonnet, with Charbonnet getting banged up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, Griff.
All right, are we newsed out?
We're newsed out. It's now time for the tape.
It's time for the olds now.
So, how bad was it? Just overall impressions?
Like, speaking pass defense, it was really bad. It was bad from every angle in terms of the stuff that we classify as, things under your control, things that you can control. They were bad at. They were bad at communicating. They were bad at handling, like you said before, stacks and bunches. They just weren't playing like their zones right. They weren't playing when it came to matchup, like man up effectively. Otherwise, good players that have enough of a body of work of doing well in those situations just got beat. Like Quandre Diggs had a lousy game playing free safety. So things like that just adding up. It was really a perfect storm. So much of it, though, truly is so fixable that however good or bad they're going to be better than this, just by virtue of there's no way they put together a performance like that again. Like, just trim the stuff that we consider they can actually fix this, irrespective of who the opponent is, and then assess from there. And then once they start playing, like Tariq Woolen was not the Tariq Woolen of last year in this game, like athletically, even though the ball didn't go his way enough for it to matter. Like, I wouldn't put him at the top of the list, even though he probably didn't have a good game. Like, he's going to be better than that. And this is even before we get into Devin Witherspoon coming and Jamal Adams coming. Like, we don't even need to talk about them. I was very
disappointed with Woolen, I have to say.
Yeah, no, and fair. But like, we
even more so watching it back. Like, it's just like he wasn't ready for the game.
Yeah.
Which maybe he's not, given how much of the offseason he missed, but, they'd have expected a lot more.
And another thing here before we really get into the tape, like, even though Trey Brown won the training camp battle, and he looked okay in preseason, Michael Jackson also looked pretty good in preseason last year. And it took him It took him 5 games to get up to speed. I mean, he was kind of a disaster the first month of the season last year. And then it got to a point where he's giving them serviceable play. Now, yeah, they wanted to upgrade on that via Devin Witherspoon. But the point is that the scheme with Michael Jackson in the starting lineup was able to produce the 7th ranked pass defense over the last 12 weeks of the season. And that's right when Michael Jackson starts to become serviceable. So I think there's a similar thing going on with Trey. Like, he just seemed uncertain. Like, what Trey has, whatever skill, whatever talent he has, he wasn't really able to apply in this game because there are just so many other things that they needed to take care of first. Like not knowing what technique should I play here in this situation. How do I like how are we passing off, like intersecting stems out of a stack or a bunch or something like that. Like, what do I do? Like, oh, am I supposed to squeeze here or do I zone off? Like stuff like that. Like the deliberate choices you make before you even get into the execution of those choices, stuff like that. And that's something that goes for the whole defense. Like Kobe Bryant, even though he's playing nickel, he found himself playing dime linebacker, basically. He's never done that before. Some of it translates from how he would have to match from the vertical hook and half quarter as the nickel. Like some of that overlaps a little bit, but he still has never done this before ever, except for probably in practice, right? And he just looked like a fish out of water. Like he just didn't know what he was doing. And it kind of speaks to the things that linebackers do in coverage, the phrasing, we'll just have a safety to it. Like those guys aren't linebackers. Like it's the linebackers have thousands of reps between practice and games and training camp and preseason to get good at this. Like hook plays an art. Like you can't just drop in any DB and expect them to be good at it, because you need the experience there. So they're going to be better than this. That's all I can say, really.
So Lauren Johnson says the team did not seem prepared to play. That is a coaching issue. I would agree partially with what you're saying there, Lauren, and I was very much disappointed with certain elements of how they basically got out-coached by Sean McVay and how the Rams were prepared for certain things. Now, one positive in terms of the data, which we mentioned in our post-game show as well, is that to the Rams running backs, Seattle gave up just 2.2 yards per carry on 37 rushing attempts. And if you want to remove that final drive where the Rams went 12 personnel heavy, Seattle responded by running their 3-4 front for the first time in the game, they still only, remove those things where they're geared up to play the run and they know they're getting run, the garbage time. Seattle still allowed an impressive 2.6 yards per carry. So Seattle was prepared to play the run, and for the Rams' run concepts, their their play action boot defense and the play action wrinkles off that, Seattle did an okay job.
They were pretty good, actually.
It was up and down, but it's tough what the Rams do, and it's week one, and most of the issues Seattle had, I felt, were like a chemistry and understanding thing between certain players. But what really sucked, and kind of what Lauren's talking about, is that two things. So, Griff, you mentioned the condensed and bunched up receivers. I mean, Sean McVay, he bunched and stacked Seattle's to death, and Seattle, whether they're in zone or man coverage, they got annihilated when the Rams were in bunched and stacked stuff. So when the Rams were bunched and stacked, so 2 receivers tight together is a stack, 3 receivers bunched together is a bunch. Or if they motioned and were condensed tight at the snap, add a third guy, if you want to imagine my head's the third receiver. In those situations, the Rams had 151 of their 331 passing yards, 11 of their 24 completions, 5 of their 11 third down conversions, and 4 of their 8 explosive plays. So that was a massive factor in this game, which we're going to look at the third down situation where Seattle went 11 for 17. They allowed first down conversions on third down, which isn't good enough. They want that number way below 50%. Obviously, 11 out of 17 is higher than 50%. It's over 60%. Now, what really stands out to Griff and I is that the, third downs are hard in the NFL, right? Like offenses are trying to pick up first downs. They're trying to extend drives. Defenses are trying to stop them, obviously. But when it's 3rd and 4 plus, that's when you really need to get off the field as a defense. And what's so disappointing is that Seattle is geared up to play so they want to stop the run, and then they want to have fun on those 3rd and 4+ situations, because generally speaking, that's when you know you're going to get pass. So you can suddenly cheat your stuff a bit more to play and pass. Up front, you can start rushing the passer more. You can get more exotic with your coverage, more exotic with your overall looks. Gear yourself more towards the pass. And Seattle did try and do that on these 3rd and 4+, and we can kind of speak to that a bit more, but they failed. So 9 of those 11 third down conversions that the Rams had were in 3rd and 4+ territory, and only one of them was a tendency change in run. The rest of all passes, Seattle was in a variety of coverages, a variety of fronts. I'll give some data on that, but Griff, they couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, no, they couldn't. And I wonder if, I mean, like we talked about earlier, it was like any given play, it was Kobe doesn't know how to play a hook. Bobby had bad hook play, maybe just doesn't have the athleticism to move well enough in his spot drops. It was the corners not squeezing and in breaking route, even though it's a zone call, a lot of it. If it was man, like pure man, like Julian Love's just losing his matchup. It was a whole lot of that. Now, and then also Stafford legitimately was insane. He might have had one of the better games of his career, and he's had a lot of good ones. Considering that like they didn't have any of their top tier skill talent this game, and they already lost a bunch of guys in free agency. I mean, that was a master class from Stafford. Still, the Seahawks made it pretty easy on him. They've already put out the template game plan to stop all those inbreakers. It was the second matchup of the 2021 season. That year or that game, that was their second fewest targets into the 10 to 20 yard bracket for their whole season. The year the Rams won the Super Bowl. So they figured it out. And really what the secret is just getting depth in your zone and peeking receivers and then working back to the quarterback with your eyes. Because you have to find the depth of the inbreakers, and then you have to get eyes back on the quarterback so that you melt into the next window well. And basically it's just that game was Ugo Amadi and Jordan Brooks playing their ass off. And this game, it was Kobe Bryant not being as good as Ugo Amadi in zone principles. And it was an aged Bobby Wagner not being even as good as he was 2 years ago, but definitely not being as good as Jordan Brooks was that game, not being as good as Jordan Brooks is now. And I went over in my little tape breakdown video of Jordan, like Jordan knows how they're attacking the defense. He knows how to inform his own little micro adjustments he makes in his zone based off of the formation, the receiver splits, the post snap releases, the depth of the quarterback drop, the quarterback eyes, et cetera. He adds it all up, and then he puts the picture together in the back of his head. And right now they don't have anyone else that can do that. Many people didn't like to hear it, but that was something Cody Barton was really good at last year. They don't have him. So if they're going to get better at it, I think, it would be great if everyone just gets better at it. I think Kobe should get better at it, but ideally they bring in Jamal in those dime situations so he can play the hook to kind of simulate what Barton gave them. And then I think he and Brooks will give cover 3 a lot more life, because we have to remember last year, rush 4 cover 3, they were the best pass defense. And that more so kicked off around week 6, but they were the best rush 4 cover 3 pass defense last year. So, and they relied on great hook play. So those interior middle zones. So,
yeah. Make sure to check out that video from Griff on Jordan Brooks, because it's a great look and explain of how it kind of all fits in. Now, return to those 3rd and 4+ calls, which is the tape we're really going to watch, because it's a clear issue which it just so happens to isolate. Well, it just so happens to highlight a lot of the things Seattle needs to improve, but it itself is the main thing they need to fix, because if they fix that, then it will fix a lot of things along the way. Now, I spoke about they had a pretty solid diversity, maybe too much. So 12 of their 13 3rd and 4 they're in dime, which Griff spoke to, how Bryant's less familiar with that. Then 5 of it was man, 8 of it was zone coverage. 4 of those were middle field open, 9 of them were middle field closed, so a bit more one high than you might expect. But that, to me, spoke of them trying to be a bit more aggressive. Then 9 of those reps, they were in a 2-3 tech front, which designed to get pass rush. 3 of those times they were in an overload front, so designed to try and get good protection stuff. And then 8 of those occasions they were trying pass rush games, so movements up front to try and get better pass rush. And then within that as well, 4 times they sent a blitz, so 1 extra guy, so 5 guys rushing the passer. And then one of those times they ran a creeper where they sent a backer and dropped someone off the edge, so they played, it's still a pressure concept. So that's a lot of different things there. And, I know there's complaints that people felt they're playing soft zone all game or they weren't playing man, but Griff, they were doing pretty much a lot of stuff. Do you think there's an argument that maybe, this is how they designed it so that everyone can learn and they can see what they're good at? But do you think they tried to do too much in week 1, given that these guys hadn't played in the preseason?
I mean, they probably did. In hindsight, they probably feel that way. Every year when they get better, it does correlate with scheme tweaks and or changes. So in 2020, when they got better, it was a matter of they played less cover 1, they blitzed less, they ran less fire zones, and they just played boring rush 4 cover 3 behind a bear front, and they got really good at it because they simplified the rules. That also happened to be, if you were to isolate what they did do well the first half of 2020, it was playing rush 4 cover 3 behind a bear front. They just didn't do it very much. So they did that more and also got better at it. In 2021, they pretty much, after like that disastrous Rams game, but we remember the Vikings game too, which was pretty bad, and the second half of that Titans game, they took their pre-existing structure and they pretty much just made the nickel have a little bit more aggression in his matching, and everything else stayed the same. And that was really all they needed. That took pressure off of Bobby. He didn't have to match things anymore. And they also had Brooks gain more depth in his curl when he was to the cover 2 side, and they just choked concepts out, and that was it. Then they started to pressure a little bit more on second downs, and that was why they were one of the best pass defenses in 2021 against receivers and tight ends, or at the second and third level, whichever way you want to capture that. They just had the check down problem. Last year when they started to fix things, it was, they changed their front structure, but it was just the youthful guys just had more time together. And then Ryan Neal got back in the lineup, who is an established player. So I think this year it's just a case of, maybe they need to simplify their scheme a little bit. Maybe they do less things. Just pick any of those calls and then just drill the crap out of it. But I think a huge part of this turnaround that's going to happen, whenever it happens, it will happen though. It's going to be what I've already said. Reek Willen finds his footing again. The left corner spot gets better, either via Devin Witherspoon being out there, or Trey just gets his feet under him again. And Kobe just kind of finds his footing as well. I don't think Quandre Diggs and Julian Love are going to continue to play poorly. They've been good football players their whole career. Not like they haven't had rough games before. Diggs had a couple last year, but we all still think of Quandre Diggs as a good safety. Julian Love was a good safety for the Giants last year. Nothing special, but he was good, solid. He'll be and solid and good at the same things that he did in this game. So he'll bounce back.
I hope so. I'm sure the Seahawks do too. So shall we look at the 3rd and 4+ situations?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so here's the first one, which is on the first drive. They allowed 4 of these conversions, the passing down conversions on the first drive, which is always going to be tough. So Seattle on this play is in man-to-man. And I think the vision when they're playing man-to-man across the board, so we got man at the top here, man here, man here, man here. And then it's interesting how these safeties play, which we'll talk about in a second. But the vision is they should have guys who are better than the opposition, right? If you think about Witherspoon coming in, how Jamal Adams can play man to most tight ends, Um, those two missing pieces who are, supposed to return. Brooks' athletic ability, and then, Love can man if he needs to occasionally. Diggs can do it against certain body types, and they're both interesting safeties as well. They should be able to man up on dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on this play, Griff, my take is that the pass rush needs to be better here, and rush and coverage go together. And you see they complete this little return route to Tyler Higbee.
Which is fairly tightly covered, too.
Tightly covered. I mean, I don't know if Brooks has a peek back at the quarterback, which I don't like. Like, he just should key the hip of the... I think he's checking to see if it's a screen, maybe, because of this release. But I don't like how he looks at the quarterback. Just key the hip and maintain relationship. I mean, really, he should pitch his 10th the inside. I think he, if he hasn't looked back at the quarterback, I think he doesn't feel as inclined to overstep like he did. But in the end... he is trying to defend the sticks here, which is up here, and he does recover and almost make a pass breakup. Now, the safeties, I believe, are like playing quarters, but with man underneath.
Yeah.
I think they do that because of the condensed split. Like, if you look here, this is condensed, this is condensed. So, coverage-wise, you can't really play it like two-man where you're going to trail the guy up on the inside. You kind of have to play outside leverage and funnel it in.
It's definitely two-man, at least up top, because Love is definitely playing cover two principles.
And then there's a potential for Diggs to be more of like a robber type. I don't think that's what this is. I wondered, but I don't think it is. I think
there could be,
I think they've both got a degree of freedom. I think the idea, as Griff spoke to me in the chat, is that these guys look like it could be zone, it could be quarters to the quarterback, and then it's actually man. I don't love the coverage, to be honest, but there's a lot of plays where if Seattle just had Diggs playing in the hole immediately, it would have been a lot more useful.
I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah. Nor do I. NFL hashes, it just is kind of wild. Anyway, the problem though on the play is Stafford is able to read out this little, and by the way, this head start motion or whatever it's been called is a real advantage to the Rams later. But they handle it well, Bryant and Woolen. Woolen takes the new guy, Bryant takes his guy, good disruption. Stafford looks there, doesn't like this look, switches to this dig. Quandre Diggs is in the window. So he's been able to read out this bunch. And at that point, that's an eternity in the NFL. Like, if you go from snap to this, he's had about 3 seconds in the pocket. The problem is that he's able to get backside without really feeling the rush at all. Like, this is a clean-ass pocket. There's no stress on this throw. He has all day. Absolutely.
He's even able to hesitate.
Because he hesitates with Brooks' undercut and then is able to clutch. Like, why does he have so much time in the pocket? Well, Jaron Reed spoke post-game about communication. That's one thing he mentioned. Then Pete Carroll spoke about taking advantage of the opportunities, listening to Reed, benefiting off him, and also revealed that he's the game caller. So if you watch pre-snap, why Seattle's crowd noise is so important is the center points out the slide. So he first points over here and then points over here to Seattle's right. That implies that that the Rams are sliding their pass protection to Seattle's right, meaning that if it's a 5-man protection, which it is, these two are going to be assigned for here and here with the running back responsible for Brooks if he were to blitz. So the one-on-ones for Seattle are on this side of the line, and the where they won't have one-on-ones because they're in a 4-man rush is on this side to Reed. But if you watch it play out, Seattle ends up running a game on the right side of their line towards the slide, which doesn't really do anything. And on the left side, there's no pass rush game. Like, you could run double techs or tackle end exchange, But the whole purpose of this game is it's like a pick and roll again in basketball, or like a slant rub route in like a passing route combination where you separate and pick and rub against the one-on-one. So one guy picks for the other guy to loop round, or one guy loops as a pick to then separate for the guy coming down to the inside. But on this side of the rush, they didn't do any game, but on this side they did. So you could run two, like I said, you could run it on this side and that side, but the fact they didn't on this side makes me think either Reed got the center slide wrong, which is unlikely because Pete Carroll didn't mention that. He said Reed did a good job, basically. Or I don't think Draymond Jones and Maffei heard.
You think maybe they were supposed to run a text then?
I think they should have been running a stunt.
Interesting, yeah. Because there was a lack of stunting this game, I felt.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it's dumb to pick on one. It's dumb to pick on one snap of a player individually not succeeding for a pass rusher, because like a 10%, 15% success rate is considered good. So that means, there's going to be 70 to 80% of your snaps where you're doing nothing. But this is just kind of an example of why Draymond Jones doesn't have as much juice as you'd think he would. I mean, you can tell how he's styled. He's a speed finesse guy, and there just isn't enough speed to his game. He just can't get the corner. But again, like I said, it's unfair to take one snap and pick on him, but there's just so many of his reps looked like this, and so many of these reps looked like that in Denver, man.
Yep.
But
again, for the way that they're rushing together as well, it doesn't make sense. Like the path he's taking needs a wide edge rusher, not this type of game.
Yeah, because Boye is going to be
type rush.
Absolutely, because Boye is going to want a power guy, so it should be like Taylor and Draymond paired up.
And Draymond ends up knocking Boye over, and again, that's something that will keep reoccurring.
Yep. All right.
Okay. So next, 3rd and 4 this time. This one, I believe, is so this just happens. Stuff like this just happens. This is like a crunch style run. It looks like split zone, but I think it's like a crunch style run. They're free releasing the tackle. They're free releasing the center. Seattle's in dime. Their alignment's asking for it. They didn't get got like this again. It's just one of those. Yeah. It's like good play call, basically. Now, You'd like Wagner's eyes to be a bit more thing in run, and you'd like Bryant to be a bit more in tune, but he's having to get off the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he's checking out of a blitz here or what with the wide trade, but yeah, it's just a tough spot for them.
So Bryant becomes the A-gap player. Bobby is the B-gap player.
Yeah, and it hits up the B, but
and then the safety at the top needs to basically be the new C-gap player. Or does Bobby need to, because with the motion, no, they're just pulling the chain. So technically Bobby needs to fit outside of the tackle. He's the C-gap player. Bryant needs to kick into the B, and then Love needs to move into the A.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. So it's a tough, but, good play call, well done.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I have to grab my charger, so you got to ride solo for about 22 seconds.
Okay. So here we have the third down, again, third down of the 3rd and 4 plus, of the opening drive this is as well. So this is a 3rd and 10. So Seattle's in their 2-4-5 personnel. This is what I mean by a 2-3 technique front. I've seen it called green. I've seen it called jet, but we'll just call it 2-3 techniques. The idea being that, let's not worry about the center. Let's try and get these guys wide angles on the guards, and then we can run games from there as well. Too high shell. And one thing you could say is that Seattle could have done a better job disguising stuff. Stafford, again, played lights out and did a good job of his cadence of getting them to undress certain things. Now, they mug the front to try and get them to slide over here to get one-on-ones over here, which is not relevant because the Rams keep 6 in protection along with their tight end. The problem on this play, I mean, Griff, you've come back at just the right moment. So this is a good coverage beater, like with how Seattle's playing this. Bryant is playing as the dime. He plays with man eyes on the back. Stafford looks out here and then zips it into this window.
Yeah.
Big hit at the sticks, 10-yard completion, broke at 8 yards, bang. It's cover 4 over on this side. So this is a quarter from Trey Brown. This is a quarter. Over here could be palms. Or it could just be 4 as well. I have a feeling it's palms.
I thought maybe it was a really soft cloud from Woolen.
No, Diggs' feet aren't right for that, in my opinion.
Okay.
And Diggs is kind of mirroring the stem of the 2.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because I thought is that Artie at the bottom? 23?
Yeah.
Because he just didn't seem like a flat defender, but I guess no one's taking him to the flat, so why would he? Yeah.
Well, that's what made me think it was palms.
Right.
Because he's kind of tight.
No, you're right. You're right.
And three, he's looking at 3 and he blocks.
Good, very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
But anyway, up the top here, I understand that Brian is playing this back like this, but if you're going to play with man eyes on the back here, then why would you not be even more aggressive with one of these two? Surely you would play one of them a bit closer. I mean, to be fair, it's a very tight window throw, and McVay praised it as a great catch from Van Jefferson extending the drive. But
so, I mean, there's a couple of things there. Well, one, I mean, I don't think this is necessarily bad from Love. Like that's a pretty good click and close, but I would maybe squeeze it a bit earlier. Now, Jamal would have been all over this. Jamal lives for this right here. Jamal would have hit this. It would have been a hit his tag or hit his caught like pass breakup. But the reason why Love is probably not being as aggressive is that he has to make sure the final 3 or the slot from the other side isn't bending toward him. Because who is the Mike right now? When your Mike can't close off the middle of the field in a 2-eye structure, the weak safety has to be able to provide overlap if his indicators take him there. So
look at Love's eyes on this play.
Right. He's reading, he's making sure nothing's coming from the strong side. And then he gets so it's just a downstream effect of having Bobby at Mike right now. If Jordan's here, the weak safety can be more aggressive.
This is actually a super cool look because you see Love check on 1 to see what type of release he got out on the outside, and then check back to 3, and then come back to Stafford.
Yeah, and it's a bullet of a throw too, man. Like right on line. Like I know it seems pitch and catch, but now in this situation, Ken Norton Jr. probably would have clouded the weak side anyway.
Well, I just don't get on 3rd and 10. Why are you having this guy not pack tighter and play more off rather than pure man eyes on the back?
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you want to defend the check down, you're giving up the intermediate. If you want to defend the intermediate, you're giving up the check down. You should prioritize the intermediate over the check down. And then from there, your ability to defend the check down is how quickly your pass rush gets home. Because that means... Because
if, this guy breaking in with the quarter safety looking for it means that this guy has outside leverage to help, if a back catches the ball and you miss a tackle.
Yeah. Now, but backside of trips, though, I mean, they do often lock the weak corner anyway. So why not just let him give your scheme something?
Yeah.
Like you got to just live with matchups occasionally, and if you can't have Trey Brown, play tight here, then because you need release valves, there needs to be pressure valves somewhere. So that means someone has to carry a load so that you can redistribute resources elsewhere. If Trey can play tighter, then the weak safety can play the way he is playing so that he can provide overlap to the strong side so that he doesn't have to be super hard on the weak X receiver.
And then
it's just the interconnectivity, man.
Yeah. And then pass rush wise, talking connectivity, Taylor bashes into Reed. I don't know if he's trying to run an inside game, but they're just not rushing together. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Like that's That's just shoddy. Like, is that a poorly performed exit stunt?
It must be, but it's just weird. But Reed didn't rush like he was expecting that.
Maybe they worked it where like Reed likes to um like fold over late or something,
Yeah,
but
that's a
it's
timing
he's
and chemistry issue, isn't it?
yeah, he's still too upfield too quickly. It's just amateur hour, man. No,
Okay,
see, all right,
so here,
okay, go ahead.
this is 3rd and 4 with on the same drive again. So the fourth one they allowed. Here's this like head start kind of motion going inside this rub, which is a good design.
It's very
But
good.
he doesn't get the football. So Seattle, again, the different type of front. So it's the 2-3 techniques. Bobby Wagner mugging down. When you put 5 guys down, the idea is that you get big on big spacing, meaning the center has Wagner. This guard has the 3 tech, which is Mario Edwards. The tackle has the edge. The right guard has this 3 tech, and then the right tackle has this edge. The back would pick up the dime, the next most dangerous, or just release and you play just with 5, or you can involve the tight end. But the idea is that you're going to get man protection showing this, and then Seattle, they do get man protection, but the back stays in, which is a win because you've kept the back into protection. You've kept 6 in protection. You can't get stretched by the back releasing on a route either side.
So it's 7-on-4 versus 7-on-5. Yeah.
Let's look at the rush first. So Mario Edwards is picking for Wagner. The idea being that the guard should step down, which he did, and then Bobby Wagner can loop around to the quarterback, or the back has to block him, but he's matched up on a running back, which is a matchup he should win. But Edwards didn't really pick the guard well, and Bobby's change of direction isn't as fast as some rushers would be. Him dipping out like this is kind of coffee house like to fake, like get the attention off him as though he's dropping back into coverage and then rushing. But it just, the timing of it, the speed of it didn't quite work, even though they kept the back in protection.
Which I still take as a win.
Yeah,
overall,
it's down the line. Like Jamal Adams had a sack against Denver with this sort of thing. Down the line, it's much more effective with a quicker guy.
Right, but I mean, I'd say it's a good use of Bobby on the field in a pass call, like because you've defended the running back effectively.
Yeah, and why it's big that the running back stayed in is Seattle didn't even have to send 5 doing this. They dropped Darrell Taylor into pass coverage. So we can discuss what Taylor's coverage was. So Seattle on the back end in the type of cover 3 zone. Now, the way that this is passed off, I think they're just playing pure cover 3, right? I don't think it's a bonus fire zone.
No, it's cover 3 with Taylor just being your strong hook dropper.
Yeah.
And he's actually not that bad here.
He does fine. He drops to his hash. But the problem is Kobe Bryant plays like he is in this flat here, and Julian Love plays like he's in this flat here. Right. There is no, if someone's on this hash where the ball is caught, it's a pick.
Right. Or he holds it and he's like, oh shit, and then he scrambles and throws it away because his running back is blocking. He can't check it down because it's 7-on-4, not 7-on-5. So this is just Kobe not knowing what he's doing right now.
and Love tries to communicate that there's a route coming in. He picks up the shallow, but Kobe obviously doesn't hear. It's loud. There's a lot going on, but he's also playing like he's the curl flat. So the communication between Love and Bryant is missing here. But really, if you're the dime, I think Kobe's just gone into strong safety mode here. Obviously, he played strong safety all in the preseason. I think he just thought he got the call, and he was like, "Okay, I'm playing strong safety. This is my 2." But he should just be in this space right here. And if he is there is nowhere to go with this football.
Nowhere to go. And again, I think Kobe will get better, but this is where we want to see Jamal. Like Jamal,
or Jordan Brooks can do this.
Oh yeah, easily. Oh yeah, I mean,
and Griff, you made a point to me about how like hook drops and zone drops, you can say it's quite easy, like you just drop into a spot, right? but it does take
Yeah.
a lot of time and reps. Yeah.
Yeah, like what spot are you dropping to and when? Like that answer, that the answer to that question is in all those other things that we talked about earlier, those indicators: formation, initial releases, stems, quarterback eyes, the depth of the quarterback drop. Like you're reverse engineering the entire offensive play call with only like 3 or 4 data points that you're collecting at like within 2 seconds to tell you what to do with your body. And a good spot drop versus a bad spot drop can be the difference of a yard to your left or a yard deeper or a yard shallow. And then all those things at the right point in time too. So like like Bobby Wagner in his prime was a very good spot dropper in his prime. KJ Wright is like maybe the best I personally have ever seen. And Bobby's a better overall linebacker than KJ was, but like that's something that KJ you can give to him, like one of the best spot droppers in the league. Like he probably provided teach tape for, because think about all those teams trying to copy the Seahawks cover three, and everyone runs cover three, but especially from like 2012 to 2017, 18, when teams were trying to copy it, they were probably watching a lot of KJ Wright tape to learn like the meat and potatoes of what their hook drops were supposed to look like. So, and Bobby too, of course, but like what made Bobby even more special was that he could turn and run with 4-4 running receivers, right?
Yeah. So I know that Pete Carroll after the game, I've seen it in the chat. He said that they didn't blitz a lot, or like they actually did blitz more. I think Pete was just a bit heated. Like on these 3rd and 4 plus situations, they pressured 38.4% of the snaps. Like that's fairly significant. So here, this is an end of half situation, so it's not a big deal, but it's quite a good example of how cracked Stafford is. So he undresses that Kobe Bryant's coming on a pressure and undresses this kind of rotation on the back end. Like this, Griff, is pretty obviously cover one, right? Like the way that the corners look, the way that these overhangs are.
It's either cover one or a fire zone.
Yeah, this could be a bonus fire zone. The man eyes on the, I don't know. But it plays out for all intents and purposes the same. Stafford does a brilliant job here. He was going to get hit if he didn't throw this, but he picked the right guy. This is fine coverage. He just looks outside and then throws to the spot here, which is like a beautiful throw.
Yeah. Like I'll live with that one, you know?
Pardon?
Like I was saying, I'll live with that one.
Yeah, like look how he looks to the out here to get Nwosu to hold and not get too middle, and then pings it just inside him. I mean, this is cracked football.
Yeah, and look at the release angle, like his arms slot. Like he can throw any type of ball at any time.
Yeah. And pressure-wise, I mean, it's good pressure, isn't it? They got Bobby on the back. He almost beat the back. Just first thing was open. And disguise-wise, they're trying to make this look like it could be the two-man look, which we saw earlier.
Yeah.
Just Kobe got undressed by the cadence. So that's tough. And you know, as we've said, Stafford played a really good game.
NFL is insane.
Yeah. Now, here we have double A gap look. But Kobe comes out. Again, Stafford, good cadence. Center gets the ID, the mic point. Kobe's now on the back. Here's this head start motion. Stafford immediately checks the safety, knows where he's going with the ball. Bang. Tariq Woolen had his gate opened, kind of. Nakua got him moving in press, close space. There's no one in this low hole area. Stafford gets the ball out quickly. Again, good arm angle work.
On a positive note, that's pretty good from Trey. Like feeling out the closing space on the stem.
Staying square, playing top down. Yep.
Because he has no idea what that route could be. That route could break in either direction. He feels that out pretty well.
Yeah, so
but yeah,
this is just cracked Stafford, but Tariq Woolen here, the technique is not good. He stays over the top, but this is opening the gate, not staying square, which is why he then has to flip his hips back for the transition.
Good point.
This is a release right down the middle, really. He has not left his frame. He can be square and put two hands on here. He doesn't need to do what he did. And that's how that happens. Anything else to add, Griff, pass rush wise?
I mean, the design of the pressure, I think, is effective enough, unless I was thinking of the other play.
Well, this is something. Bobby Wagner crashing into Draymond Jones. Like, he slips as well, but the timing is off between the two. Again, chemistry's poor. Like, how many plays have we seen where they...
Yeah.
There's 3 now. Guys bashing into each other.
If the ball was padded even once, though, Bobby would still manage to get there.
Yeah.
So I think the structure of what they're going for with their game was like the theory was confirmed there anyway. Just needed better execution.
Yeah.
Draymond slipped a few times this game.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He might have a cleat issue. All right.
So this is the overload line. So the idea being with the overload line, hold on. So Draymond Jones is wearing 55, so they're like, oh, he could be a linebacker. But essentially, you have 1, 2, 3 guys on one side of the field. You should know this because it's the name of our podcast for a reason. Then you have your guy here. So, the idea, again, by mugging Bobby Wagner down is that they go big on big. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then you've got one-on-ones and tough angles on this side of the field. And if Bobby Wagner drops out, or the other thing you can do is you can full slide or slide and have the back take one of these guys out here, preferably the linebacker, right? So you'll see that Stafford does some communication. So the center points out, they also involve Kobe Bryant. So that's why they end up sliding over to this side, because there's 4 threats over here and they only have 3 guys. So impressive job from the Rams getting this done, and the running back as well. Nate Tice did a good video on this. The running back is told by Stafford as well, make sure that you're getting this to pick up Bobby Wagner, that we're going to slide over here. So sliding over to these guys, picking up Bobby Wagner. Bryant dropped out as the rat, but they do a great job in protection. Stafford, good job buying time. Seattle's running a pick game here to try and separate to the man side. Reed does get kind of free, and Bobby does, but by the time it doesn't matter because the coverage was difficult. But Griff, anything on the pass rush?
No, you covered it.
So, coverage-wise, why is it difficult? Well, Seattle's in man-to-man. They're playing at different levels. You want to be at different levels because if you're all at the same level and it's condensed like this, you're going to run into each other. So this is a good, they're in a good levels job here. It's just cover 1, so this is the post safety. Julian Love is man on this guy. Artie Burns is man on Nakua, and then Brown is man on Tutu Atwell. But the problems are this running behind this kind of natural pick is a lot of leverage to gain. And because I think Love didn't want to give up the sticks, bearing in mind this is a 3rd and 8, he wants to play at the sticks, but this receiver he doesn't back up much, and so they end up at very similar levels, and the Rams just time it brilliantly. The way that this goes behind the first pick and then directly in front of Love's guy makes it murky, and so they run into each other.
Yeah, because Trey doesn't know if he's running a shallow or not. I mean...
No. I mean, to Trey, he's fighting to get quick leverage. Right. He's already had to work over the top. He's fighting to get leverage on this route. Love needed to be more aware here and back up more.
Yeah.
Essentially, Trey has to always go over the top of anyone on this side. Love has to go over the top of everyone because he's the deepest guy. So you have to maintain that initial relationship and just be aware. He takes one step back. Trey's had to take a lot of steps back. So, but great design from the Rams. How this is behind, and then that's directly in front with the slight delay off the line of scrimmage from the third receiver. But this is quite an innovation. Like the Dolphins were doing this head start motion. But I imagine Seattle didn't prepare for that kind of motion into bunch. They'll have prepared their bunch stuff, as we see from the fact they're separating their levels. They all seem to know how to do it to a degree, but that head start motion is a mess for them. So that's unfortunate. Now... Oh, no, that's fine.
That play should have been a touchdown, though.
Maybe. Okay, so everything was going bad for Seattle, as we know. And when things are bad, they're bad. So using 3 buzz was quite a cool wrinkle. So Diggs is coming down into the strong hook of cover 3. And they're playing it with Wagner in the weak hook. Here... It gets thrown over Diggs' head. He's too short. But Woolen, this is his best player of the game. Nice undercut and great pass breakup.
And Diggs at least does force a higher throw.
He does, yeah, of course, yeah.
But that's still insane. Like, that's Stafford just feeling himself, man. Absolutely fearless.
Yeah.
But good defense from...
I think Tariq could have picked this off. Hold on.
Pause.
Maybe not. But, yeah. But the play died because of this nice quick jam, but then that is hands to the face, trying to reset to stay in front, and unfortunately they threw the flag.
Yep.
Any thoughts on the pass coverage here?
I mean, I don't like picking on him, but I hate how much space Bobby's giving. He's practically conceding the first down from the final 3 receiver just to prevent the touchdown. Because he opened up later at another point, and it's just he knows he doesn't have the speed. So normally he'd play this tighter. He's just giving so much depth.
Yep. Yeah, although he doesn't know, like the receiver could have been taking it all the way. He didn't throttle down, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just Brooks tempos that out. Brooks plays everything honestly to what he's seeing when he plays a route. He never like like a hitter in baseball sits on a pitch. They expect a pitch and then react to anything that isn't that pitch. Like Brooks never sits on a route. He plays exactly what the receiver is telling him because he trusts his athleticism to be able to drop his hips and drive whenever he needs to. And so he tempos it out. He plays it as tight as you can. He doesn't concede any ground till he has to, pretty much.
And then when it's bad, it's bad. So this is just cracked Stafford. Like Nwosu gets a really good rush off the edge. Maybe he could have been wider, but he's going speed to power, and he does win the outside half. Seattle's in that kind of 2-man coverage again. Notice what's interesting to me is... Actually, no, this isn't an example. But anyway, they have pretty good leverage on the route. This is just a cracked throw to space and somehow complete. Mike Jackson.
I mean, this throw was like, all right, man.
Yeah, I mean, the window here is like, it's just nuts. It's nuts because... yeah. And what's also crazy is how...
This is S-tier quarterback play.
Yeah, it's crazy how he stays alive in the pocket as well and buys that little that almost half. It's not a half roll, but the step to his right to buy the time to get it off.
Like he's chilling, looking at Uchenna Nwosu coming down on him. Like his tackle's getting driven. He's like, whatever.
See how he reads the backside safety.
Yeah,
and then bang, knows where he's going, throws it to a spot.
It's like he might as well be playing 7-on-7 right now, and he doesn't. He's just like screwing
Yeah.
around in the backyard, like, oh, I'm pretending the rush is coming from my blind side. I'm gonna.
How do we view the pass rush here?
I mean, I think you have a win from Uchenna Nwosu. I think if you have good coverage and the quarterback's patting the ball, you can take that from Jaron Reed from your A gap rusher. It's kind of a late win, right? Like this right there is why Jaron Reed registered so well on the pass rush win rate by ESPN last year and this game, is because he kind of had a lot of these late arcing outside rushes,
Mm-hmm.
which are only effective if the quarterback's holding the ball. I mean, it's a late win. It's
Good
not impact,
good
but
illustration of the overload front as well and the mugging. It gets Nwosu one on one. They full slide here, have the back for Wagner, so Nwosu's
yeah.
one on one. And even with them full sliding here, they're like very wide over. So Jones, even Reed with how he rushes, and Taylor, they're all one on one basically.
Mhm.
This guy is just not really doing it. He can't get there. He gets to Jones spinning, but yeah.
And I do like how this defends the check down though. So I like to structure this play. You know, like I like the intentions with Bobby as part of the rush, even if he's not rushing, part of the rush math, the pressure look, and all of that stuff. Because I do think that will allow them to handle the running back. There were only 2 running back targets this game, and I think a lot of it was scheme um, that impacted it, and then Bobby like doing well within the scheme at that sort of thing. Um, it was any time they asked Bobby to be involved deeper where they were running into issues. So hopefully, just Brooks becomes more of a 3-down player with his workload, and then they get Jamal in there. And then also Kobe just needs to be better, man. He can be, but
Yeah, his main issues came on second down, didn't they, really?
yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so Griff, that's a bit of the defensive issues, and second down passing wise, I think the Rams could have passed more because I think Seattle had the same coverage problems. But we said it in the post game show. All of this stuff here is very much catered to defending the pass. Like these are passing coverages. There's nothing to do with. I mean, heck, we saw Seattle gave up a run because they weren't geared up to play the run. Like Seattle's success limiting the Rams running backs to 2.6 yards per carry, or 2.2 if you include that last drive, the garbage time drive. That didn't come at the expense of the pass coverage. Now, it might have done from a coaching focus standpoint where they've spent all offseason saying how to stop the run and set edges and play good leverage and maybe not dialed in enough to play the pass. I think that's too early to say. But in terms of scheme, in terms of play calls, they were doing what they felt was best to stop the pass. It wasn't about, and it wasn't a structure where it's like this guy is playing run first and that's why he's bad to the pass. No, all of this stuff which we've just seen is just bad pass coverage, bad pass rush, and I think quite a bit of it is a lack of familiarity with each other too. That's the other factor to this. Witherspoon coming back in, Jamal Adams coming back in when that does happen. It's just that kind of talent bump that they need, along with familiarity being a thing, which will improve communications, etc. Griff, anything to add on that, or are you ready for the offense?
I mean, yeah, I would just be repeating myself at that point. So I'm in concurrence with you.
Okay. So Griff, what the hell happened on the offense? How do they go from where they should have been more than one score in front, because Jason Myers missed his field goal, right?
Yeah.
To a situation where, brother, they end up 0.9 yards per play in the second half, and that's generous because most of the yards came in garbage time. They basically had 3 yards in the entire second half. Is it all just the tackles going down, or is there like actual indicators of problems?
I don't know. I mean, the first half, like they were okay. Had they hit one explosive they hit their field goals, maybe a little sharper in the end zone. I mean, they could have had a really successful first half. I mean, they could have come out with 20 points in the first half, and I think you take that. In the second half, they didn't really throttle the scheme down as much as it looked like, on as much as I thought that they would have when I went into the tape, or at least as much as I thought they did watching live. They were still going for it. They were trying to access the middle more. the intermediate middle. They drew up some concepts for Jackson Smith and Jigba. In a couple of cases, the ball just didn't go his way because there were other receivers open in the earlier parts of the progression. In other cases, you could tell that Geno was trying to get to Jackson, and the tackles were just crumpling, and there just weren't a lot of opportunities there. So ultimately, I think the passing game woes in the second half was, yeah, I would chalk it all up to protection. I don't think Geno made really any errors in the second half, any decision-making errors from Geno. There was a case where oh no, so the only other thing I think in the second half they probably should have tried was running the ball a little bit more. They passed a lot. I mean, they had to score, right?
Yeah, but it's crazy to me they didn't run it. Like, I don't understand. Like, that's Jake Curhan's strength. I know there's a limited play sample size, and in terms of this game and the game plan, I think they really wanted to be like quick game on early downs, right? Like highly efficient passing game stuff. But I just don't understand the lack of run when, they were really good running the ball. And part of that is you don't do too much of it. You keep it efficient. But like Walker had a tough first drive where he missed, he should have followed his pull around, right? And then the second half,
Yeah,
they just didn't do it.
right. Yep,
Surely the
agreed.
way to help out struggling tackles is to run the ball.
Mm-hmm. Really quick. I'm being accused of being negative in the chat. If you want to look at what a good play,
that is true.
Okay, if you want to look at a example of what a weak hook player looks like taking on a final three receiver or tight end in the red zone, I just retweeted it right now. You can go check it out. There's KJ. That's how it should look like. That's what it should look like. Bobby's giving way too much depth in that example. It's not good coverage. He's defending the touchdown, but he's giving up about an 8-yard completion if Stafford goes there. So, and that would have been a first down. Maybe caught right before that. So I just don't think that's a good example. But I just retweeted what it looks like. There's KJ opening up to George Kittle of all people. So I disagree that that's a good play from a good example of coverage from Bobby. He's playing way too conservative. Anyway, and plus I think I was positive toward Bobby, at least how he, like, there's still a role for him. I've said, like, he was good against the run this game for the most part. And I thought
he was great against the run, other than stuff where it's going, like, a gap is changing quickly.
I mean, he gave up 2 of the touch. Like, if you're gonna assign blame on the touchdown runs, two of the 3 are on him. Like,
one of them, he thought there was a false start, which meant he was late off the ball, and he cannot afford to be late off the ball. But yeah, the other one, he just took his shot and was wrong.
But yeah, I mean, he's had a good game against the run, and I like how they're trying to use him to manipulate the math in the box against the pass, trying to keep it 7-on-4 as much as possible instead of 7-on-5. But anyway,
we're talking about the offense.
We're talking about the offense.
But you took offense.
So I was saying how I thought they actually were functional in the first half. In the second half, they didn't really throttle the scheme down. They were going for it. It wasn't like just quick game and check downs. Well, there was quite a bit of quick game, but they were still trying to access the second level. They just couldn't hold up for it. I don't really think KJ missed anything, or Geno missed anything.
KJ, we could just watch the whole second half. It's only 10 minutes.
I mean, go ahead, pull up some plays.
What is there a particular play which stands out to you as like endemic, symptomatic of the entire offensive struggles? Because I mean, that's a pretty good start.
Do you remember the mesh play, and where I think it's one of Geno's sacks. He's trying to progress to Jackson. He's going to give Jackson a chance on the deep dig.
Did they get too cute in the second half, Griff?
No, they really didn't. In fact, they were trying to not be cute. They were trying to score, but they couldn't. Now, right here, this is just really well defended. They got a lot of yardage off of this play last year. This is immaculate half quarter from the Rams. This is amazing quarter play
I
from the
love how
weak
it looks
quarter
like
safety.
Tampa 2-2.
Yeah. I think part of this is they ran this from pistol.
Yeah, they knew what they were getting here. Look at this safety. This safety knows.
Hmm.
Are you sure? Yeah, that safety knows. That's very good.
And unfortunately, it kind of works against them because he plays it tighter. Because if it is a run, he has to come down in the run support. So in a way, it
Yep.
kind of kills them. Now they're also in that formation because they're trying to get an extra body on Donald, right?
Yep.
The protection. Now this is blocked up fairly well. You could probably call this just a minor miscue from Gino.
Ball could have been out slightly earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering why he decided to throw the out. I guess he thought he had man, which he did, but the way that it plays out is just the timing's janked up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is why press coverage is cool. Great job here. Look at this. Reset the hands. Bang. Oh, that's Cody Thompson getting worked. Wow. Yeah, Cody Thompson here has to understand his role. Like, he is not getting the ball here when he's been jammed like this, so he doesn't need to worry about getting off the release. Like, it's man to man. It's about having the poise to understand and I realize you guys can't see it as well as I can. At this point here, he's jammed to heck. He is jammed to heck. The problem is he breaks back inside, which brings the corner back into this.
Because he just needs to clear it out.
Yeah, he needs to just run all the way outside release, basically. Because this is basically quick game wide cross, isn't it? As we call it.
Yeah, I mean it's Ohio front side and then like a slant and a fin backside. So
I'm
it would progress
surprised
that way.
Gino didn't look to the slot and Tyler, but maybe he thought there'd be a rat there. I'm surprised he didn't look at the slants.
Yeah, he might just be worried about the rush getting home, honestly.
Yeah, and JSM was meant to be this answer, wasn't he? I mean, he's open, I guess. Does he miss this, or does JSN let it go through his hands? It's hard to tell.
I mean, it could have been caught, but like,
yeah, he's got to catch that. Come on,
it's 2 or 3 yards, you know.
Yeah, but it's a first down.
Is it? I don't know. He's short.
Yeah.
All right.
And he does throw it slightly late. But I don't know if he gets paused by how that corner... I don't know. Yikes.
Yeah, so it's not great when your guys are falling over. Like,
yikes.
Like that would have been caught. Like,
why does he fall over? Did he get tripped?
He just stumbles out of it. It's just not a good look for old Tyler there.
Oh, no. But what I would say is, why is he clutching? The throw is there to be made still.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like, what? I don't know why he hesitates here.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
And then, yeah, that ball should still come out.
Agreed.
Does he think Jones is going to get there?
No, I just think maybe he's worried about a hand in the throwing lane. I don't know. Maybe
you don't like to see that.
Maybe it's like a delayed reaction to his process. Like, I'm not throwing this, but then his.
Oh no.
There's nothing really here.
What is this?
He could have decided to wait for Fant's little dig route. But he's reading the off corner. And I'm not sure to the field that's the right choice.
I mean, the Rams, I love their coverage spacing, but they just don't believe that Seattle is going to run the ball here, which is correct. But like, it becomes a problem when you end up having 4/3, and really good spacing. It's 3 buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, weak buzz maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know actually.
Yeah, it could just be 4 with a poach.
But
It's interesting he decided to throw Tyler outside. I know this corner's off, but he's running into the leverage. And it's a very good break. Like, I'm surprised he didn't work this type of deal.
yeah, yep, I agree.
Yeah. Not great. And I felt in game this was early contact. Like, the contact's here and the ball's not there yet. So it's kind of PI. I mean, he's hit him and the ball's not there. Now the ball's there.
Yeah, true. That's true.
What is this? So they're running this to go wide, but
it's zone, but I don't know why. Well, okay, yeah, it's zone.
it goes
It's
so
just
wide.
like, why doesn't he cut it back?
Yeah, I mean, they spiked the end.
He probably sees that and thinks the edge is hooked or something. But
The cutback is here, but he's really running wide. They get good wash on Donald.
agreed.
But this spiking just kills it. As Seattle's found with their run defense. Going in the B gap bubble spikes the ball further outside and janks up this combo. But this should be foot in the ground and cut up, right? Maybe it's just not how the read is coached.
Yeah.
Bang. This is a lot of daylight
Yep.
by NFL standards.
I mean, Walker doesn't have the best anticipatory vision yet.
No.
He's getting there. But
Yeah, Lee's saying Forsyth should have just let this guy go. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't think so, though. Because the whole purpose of this is, I think, 91's trying to get over the top.
I don't know. Yeah. Is this the draw play? No.
Okay, so this play on Twitter got a lot of coverage, I saw.
Really? I mean, it's Y cross or
Yeah.
989, really. So
People were upset Gino decided to throw the go ball, which we can't even see on my screen. But
well, so the thing is that you read the go first and then you scan. So he doesn't know if Jackson is. I mean, Jackson is open. That's the thing. That's why I think they'll go for him. But he doesn't know that Jackson. It doesn't matter that Jackson is open or not, because if he reads that DK is targetable, then because DK is the first read in the progression. So if your first read in the progression is targetable, it doesn't matter if the ensuing reads are open or not.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, we can't see DK here. I'm sorry, I can't work out why that is. But at the back of his drop, he's looking here and he's held the safety enough to throw to DK.
Yeah, this is all predetermined.
Also, this rat here is in this window. Like, is it a rat? Yeah, it's cover one.
Yeah.
With this guy, man on the tight end, he's blocking. By the time, if he comes here, this guy's going to get underneath it. Now, JSN is open, But design-wise, and maybe the end zone will show you DK a bit better. Essentially, he's held this safety enough to access the sideline. DK just didn't win his route. And yeah, the ball's off target as well. But I don't know how much that is Geno seeing that the route's not run at all, one at all.
Yeah, and like Geno's thrown that ball more than enough times with DK's relation to the DB at the point of the throw, and they've connected. So, I mean, there's a lot of trust in DK there to win, right? Because he does often on that route. So, I do like that.
If he'd come back to JSN here, he gets sacked.
True. He would have had to.
Forsyth got kind of worked here play strength wise. Hands to the face as well.
I do think Geno would have cleared that linebacker no problem though, if it was a matter of making the throw.
Love this head fake from JSN.
Yeah, I do like that he's separated now. The corner is if he's going to lose, he's making sure he loses to the right leverage. But
yeah,
I mean, Jason, you could say dusts him almost.
I'm frustrated that we can't see an angle of this. I don't know how to
on DK.
Yeah, I don't know how to show that. Is there settings I can play? Oh, is there settings? Nope. Okay. Well, we'll work it out at some point. Right. Well, we're basically halfway through the second half. Oh dear. This is when you know that they're in trouble, when they're calling stuff like this. I think this is a good read, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do here. DK's not open, really.
2 yards.
Ball should be caught here.
Yeah, bang. Ball needs to be gone now. But he's got to make that catch.
No, yeah, the ball needs to be caught. That's what I was saying.
Oh, right. Yep. First slant. Good press. Second slant. Yeah, that's not good enough. Right in the chest. Turns upfield too fast. Took his eye off it. Hey, Pass Pro's doing okay here as well. Lewis managing against Donald.
Yeah.
Quick game. Oh no. Oh no, I know. Oh no.
Switch release off the top. This is a play they ran in the mock game.
I guess I don't know why he has second thoughts about throwing the outside hitch. I guess the defense. Yeah, I feel he could throw that outside hitch. I don't know why he came off that. Maybe the way the DB is. Yeah, when he comes off it, the DB's still square, isn't he? Yeah. I guess he thought the DB was breaking on that. He also has a rusher right in his... Yeah, I mean, this is Pass Pro dying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rough.
Rusher right in his face where he's going to throw it. Yeah, the moment the ball's going to come out, it's just not there, is it? Oh, dear. So, Seattle handling these kind of interior picks was a problem for them last year. Do you think it's better this year or... Well, no, it's obviously not better this year yet, but can it be, why are other teams good at it and Seattle not? Can we answer that without being in the building?
Oh, no.
Oh dear.
No, I mean they don't have their ones out there right now. It's part of it. I do think Evan Brown had a good game though.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. Forsyth just gets caught. He doesn't have reactive athleticism.
No,
I
he
don't know
really
what
doesn't.
Forsyth's doing, actually. Like, to do that is insane. Like, and not react to this guy.
I think he's I don't even think he digests this as a game. I think he just thinks there's an inside counter he has to protect.
Yeah.
Which ironically, that's good technique for an inside counter, but it's like not the.
Yeah, great work. And Curhan here. I mean, you can probably live with that if Gino's able to step up, but as soon as Gino comes out the back, it's not viable. Which is why you fish hook on the backside and run the game on this side, right?
Yeah.
As we were talking about with Seattle's defense. Okay, so pass pro killed that one. I mean, this quick game stuff that they should be able to access a lot. I mean, JSN doing this, the tight end group.
Ideally, they get more yards there, though.
Yeah, I mean, what's he doing?
I don't know. It's just kind of. I mean, he was kind of caught in a weird spot. It wasn't easy to get upfield. Will Disley is so good at like just his first step getting upfield and just folding forward every time. But
What's the flag about here? Oh yeah, was
All right.
that DK got flagged?
yeah,
Oh yeah, it was all this nonsense. Okay.
Which I mean, he turns into a blocker. What do they call it? Blindside.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the clear definition of a blindside block, but this guy needs to be way more aware. He stopped playing, Witherspoon, but
Doing your former teammate.
I mean, the
like
game
that.
is done at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a rough moment for DK, but he's just frustrated, man.
Oh no!
So this was the play where I think Gino was going to throw this to Jackson if the pocket held up.
Yeah, that's going right over the head of this guy. That'd be a nice play.
The ball's getting caught right outside the far hash or the near hash.
Yeah.
Like right on the other hash. So
Yeah. Oh well.
and
Yeah,
and
but by this point it's over. So, oh dear.
yeah, I mean
That was rough. There's not much hope in that offense. I guess the good news is, yeah, errors are magnified when your defense is struggling to get off the field. Yeah. Griff, do you have any other closing thoughts on the offense?
I'm not that pessimistic though, because I think that I think that they'll probably rally around more under center play action early on. Just basically run a lot of their what we saw them running out of pistol, start to sequence more out of under center. I think that if you do that enough in the game, you can shift into pistol and catch them in certain looks and then see if you can access the fade. Because the fact that Gino like was trusting DK on that one fade ball in the 989 play, like they hit that and there's just trust there. So if you get the look, he'll throw it. And Detroit isn't afraid to give them the look. They weren't afraid last time, and they still don't seem afraid to. They just outplayed Kansas City's receiver talent. But their structure, they kind of commit to their structure. So I think Seattle's talent beats their structure, at least at receiver. So I don't know. I think Waldron goes into under center. I think we see a lot of shifting this game, and then exploit matchups, basically.
It sounds good to me. Like I said, check out that interview I did with Bryce Rossler of Sports Info Solutions. Bryce is a huge Detroit Lions fan, big time homer for the Lions. So make sure you do listen because Bryce had a lot of good nuggets, along with the fact that Detroit, despite trying to revamp their secondary, even though they took, first round linebacker, first round running back, all that positional value jazz, their secondary still has some weak spots. Griff, do you know the Detroit Lions cornerbacks?
They traded Okuda, right?
Cameron Sutton and Jerry Jacobs.
Sutton. Didn't they draft Mosley?
They did. They have Emmanuel Mosley, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Cameron Sutton. All right. Welcome to the club.
Jerry Jacobs. Yep. So, we said it against the Rams that Seattle may have some success. Hopefully, this is a better game. Lee asked, "Gino's what I'm worried about. He looks so indecisive." I do agree. He didn't have his usual decisiveness, but that could just be, it's a tough game. It's the first game of the season, and then pass pro in the second half. It gets you a bit scared. Let's hope it comes back. Those second half stuff is that's tough. But guys, the good news is, I think this defense can be for real. I really do. I said about the run defense. Now, the pass coverage has a lot of troubling elements. But if they can get that good, then they can be a very good defense. And they have the talent. So it does come down to coaching. And despite what my timeline said, where people are determined to fire Pete Carroll and saying lots of kind of just terrible things about him and ageist. Despite all of that, a lot of that does fall on Clint Hurt as defensive coordinator, and then the positional coaches. Believe it or not, Pete Carroll isn't coaching the DBs.
He coaches the coaches, though.
He coaches the coaches.
Which is why I suspect we'll see like a narrowing down, not so much adjustments.
Did I say that point that on the 13 third and 4 pluses Seattle had in that last game, 12 of them were unique play calls. So a new front coverage stunt, unique. Now, you can run the same front with a different stunt. That's part of what happened, and the same coverage with a different front. That's part of what happened. But yeah, 12 of 13 unique play calls. So that is quite a lot of stuff. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Great numbers tonight. Please do like the video and comment. Love the chat interaction as well. Griff being called negative is a new one.
Yeah, I'm usually accused of being overly optimistic, so I'm gonna have to. I'll become the heel if that's necessary.
You can't cope anymore. You've lost it.
Yeah.
And Rohan points out we have Witherspoon's debut to look forward to at least. Absolutely, Rohan. That's going to be banging for the Detroit Lions. Now,
I'm very optimistic. I think they beat the Lions.
Are the Lions 6-point favorites? I saw. Nuts. That's what happens when you lose both your tackles.
I've given Bobby plenty of due this game or this episode.
You went
deep into history.
Too far.
I went deep into history and said how good he was, how he's exemplary. And I'm only saying what the tape showed this game, which I know you agree with anyway.
It's really messed up how you said they should cut him immediately.
You're just letting me do all the heavy lifting there with the Bobby hate. But it's not even hate. Like, I'm saying what he's doing well this game too. Like, I'm not ignoring what he did well.
You're digging some holes here.
And then regarding DK, I mean, I said like DK wins go routes a lot, so Gino was right to give him a chance. He just didn't win that route.
Trade him for Grady Jarrett.
I'm not talking nonstop how slow Bobby is. Bobby is nonstop.
You're being trolled by chat.
We're having fun. We're having a good time.
We're having fun. We're talking football. If you want to see us talk more football, download the podcast, 5-star reviews, follow Griff at CMikeSpinMove, follow me at Matty F. Brown. Seahawks on Tape Substack. there's going to be an article on the third downs that we've covered tonight as well. But the article will have quotes from people, locker room quotes, more data, and it will probably be easier to digest if you prefer. And, it's my writing, so please do subscribe to that because it's free to subscribe. You can pay if you want to. I would prefer that, but you don't have to. And if you pay, you get access to some certain materials that, may or may not exist regarding the Seahawks. There we go. Griff on Sunday as well. Final thing to go out on. Jahmyr Gibbs is C-Mike's reincarnation, right? Just without the spin move.
Is he that kind of runner?
I mean, his debut, he was playing like hair on fire, just running round blocks. It didn't even matter. He was just breaking tackles. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they bottle up Detroit's run game though.
Oh no!
I'm
Why
very.
did you say that?
I'm very high on the Seahawks run defense, spearheaded by the one and only Bobby Wagner.
I'm really high on it too, but two back and then counter
Morris,
and
apparently.
power makes me nervous. And just because you hate Bobby doesn't mean you need to overcorrect now.
They handled gap scheme really well this week.
Yeah, but the Lions are a different kettle of fish.
No.
Do you have that expression?
I don't think we do.
Kettle of fish.
I don't think we do. All right.
Do you know what I'm going to write in my article?
What?
The Seahawks gave up 9 third and 4+ conversions to the Rams, right? They can't be given 9 lives to the Detroit Lions or other non-cat NFL mascots.
You deserve a cookie for that.
And that is why Seahawks on Tape Substack. Okay, enough plugging. We need to get out of here. It's almost 2 hours. We were trying to be structured.
Yeah.
But when it's that messy, it's tough to be structured. But we'll get good at it. Chat in the comments as well. Let us know how we can improve this because obviously, if you're listening, good luck. This is on YouTube. But if you're like watching along with us, how can we improve it a bit more? We tried to come with 2 key topics for the night, but ultimately you have the power to guide the film review show in the direction you would want. Other than you can't stop Griff hating on legendary Seahawks, like he's gonna do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, please let us know. All right, goodbye everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.